it's very clear that you are a car person and this is a car and it's going to drive really fast and you're going to take it to the track. There's a really clever mix of stuff on this car. There's stuff that was bought from a race shop, there's stuff that was purchased from the aftermarket, and then there are things that were pulled from different OEMs that the Volkswagen community just knows will fit and work and improve the car. I love that stuff.
Hey guys, today's video is brought to you by Fixed. This is an innovative little dongle that plugs into your OBD2 port, can save you time, can save you money, and it can simplify the care and feeding of your car. Not only can this little thing pair with an app to scan codes, read check engine lights, and help you maintain and repair your car, you can also use it as a second set of gauges, get more information out of your car's onboard diagnostic port, whether that's a gauge your car might not have, like oil pressure, oil temperature, trans temperature, anything that goes through your car's computer. This thing can read with the paired app on your phone. It can also do maintenance alerts. It can remind you when it's time to change your oil. It can remind you when it's time to change your wiper blades or rotate your tires. It's not paired to any one particular vehicle. So let's say you're going to check out a new vehicle you might want to purchase. You can plug it in, pair it with that, and check the diagnostics of that particular vehicle. Fixed was developed by 3 Georgia Tech graduates who wanted a better way for you to get in touch with your car. It's compatible with almost any vehicle built gas-powered or diesel-powered since 2008, so there's almost anything you can do with Fixed to improve your relationship with your car. Hit the link in the description. I've got not only a special deal for you on the Fixed dongle, cheaper than anywhere else, but also on the premium app membership, which unlocks special features and stuff that you can't get with the basic app. You can still use Fixed with the basic app, but you can get even more for the best price ever today. And thank you to Fixed for sponsoring today's video.
Welcome to what should be a pretty invigorating day in the canyons, because this is a very powerful, very modified 2016 Volkswagen Golf R. It has a very long mod list, which is in the description below. I'll go through some of it, but if I go through all of it, it will be tomorrow by the time I'm done reading it. And what we're going to talk about today is why you would have bought this over a Focus RS back in the day in 2016 when this came out, or something else. Why you might want to buy one now, and what the mods have done to this car. That's the most important thing, because not all of you are shopping for a new powerful hatchback, but we all like to improve our cars a little bit. We're all curious about what a part could do, how it could help or hurt the car we have, and what you might want to do next in your project. So that's what we're going to get into, because this has everything. This car has everything. But first, let's go through the baseline. 2016 Golf R. This one has the DSG option, the 6-speed dual clutch transmission, and nothing else. This car was offered with very few options, but things like adaptive cruise back then and a little bit of other stuff. But this has none of those. This is a base white car. It's got a little flake to it, which I like. No sunroof, which I also like. And the driver, owner, John, who's like 6'4", probably appreciates this extra headroom a lot. It has the DSG, 6-speed dual clutch. They were not everywhere back then. Think about that. Volkswagen developed the dual clutch transmission for the Veyron, and then they put it in the first-gen Golf R32, or GTI R32, way back in the early 2000s. That was the first dual clutch to go into a production car. So this is obviously a later version of that. In stock form, this car came with 292 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. It's all built on the EA888 engine, the 2-liter turbocharged engine that Volkswagen has basically been putting in everything and continues to put in everything for, I don't know, at least a decade. I call it the EAT. It's the EAT engine, because EA888 just falls off the tongue like a Rubik's Cube, just clunky as hell. There were differences between the Golf R's engine and the GTI's engine. The Golf R had a different head, a different turbocharger, different valves, a slightly different rotating assembly, if I remember correctly, bigger intercooler. Fundamentally, very similar engines with just hot rod parts on the Golf R. This one, kind of in that fashion, also has a bunch of parts bolted onto it. This also has a new, larger turbo, full breathing mods, intercooler, It has a Haldex tune, which will lock the torque distribution to 50-50. We'll get more into that more later. Coilovers, sway bars. The rear sway bar is off an RS3 set to full stiff. It's adjustable. Has the staggered stance from the RS3. A lot of inspiration in this build was from the RS3 and actually Volkswagen and Audi themselves, which is very clever. We'll get to that when we start driving it. The brakes are very smart. The front brakes are the rear brakes from a Macan S, and the pads are the same pads you can get for an STI or an Evo. So cheap front brake upgrade with Nuespeed rotors. So there's a really clever mix of stuff on this car. There's stuff that was bought from a race shop, there's stuff that was purchased from the aftermarket, and then there are things that were pulled from different OEMs that the Volkswagen community just knows will fit and work and improve the car. I love that stuff. I love that clever ways to save money while improving the car. Really good. The engine, with all that stuff bolted to it and a little bit of an ethanol tune, now makes about 440 horsepower to the wheels, 500 to the crank. That's a lot. Not quite double what it comes with stock, but we're close. We're getting there. It's got an AWE switch path exhaust, which is rad. If I hit the off button, it sends all the exhaust basically through a straight 3-inch pipe to the back. But if I keep it on, which it is now, it's a little bit quieter, a little bit more livable, because this is John's Daily. And I'll let you listen to the difference now. So now, I'm going to put it in drive. John recommended to put it in race mode because that sets the Haldex system into that 50-50 split. And then we put traction control in sport. Manual mode, sunglasses on. Very nice day, quiet in the canyons. I like that. Okay, yeah, 440 horsepower to the wheels. And John brought it here with the fuel mix the right way, the tune set the right way. He really set it up for success. Whoa, oh my God. Okay, right off the bat, what I notice is that this car gets to redline extremely quickly. That's what power does. It moves the car across the universe much more quickly than it does in stock form. So it runs to redline. I don't know where redline is. I'm not trying to bang the rev limiter, but we are cruising past 6,500 RPMs, no problem. Really a ton of thrust. Third gear in this is very rapid. This is kind of a tight canyon. Was not our original canyon planned, but when I checked the map this morning, that road was closed. So here we are. What this road is good for is testing the agility of a car. You know, there's a lot of second gear corners, some third gear stuff, some surprises, some elevation things. It will tell you what is wrong with your setup or what is right with your setup. Okay, so far, the setup is good. The setup is very good. Got a lot of front grip. And then, because of that staggered stance and the sway bar, the car feels really neutral. So John's plan for this car is one of those have your cake and eat it too situations. He bought it brand new in 2016, bought it at Galpin, and told his wife that he wouldn't modify it for the first year, and he almost stuck to that, and if she's watching, he definitely stuck to that. But after that, it was pretty steady trajectory of adding parts and and refining things and changing things. And he took a lot of inspiration from the Audi and Volkswagen engineers themselves. He looked at what they did with the RS3, you know, a car that was built on the same chassis as this one, and he said, well, what have they done? Maybe I can do some of that. So, for example, the staggered stance, larger tires in the front, narrower tires in the back, he did that. In the RS3, they do that to make it handle a little bit more neutrally so it doesn't have as much understeer and feel so front heavy. So he did that. He also put the RS3 sway bar in the back, set to full stiff. All of those things are about making the car feel more even. And then in addition, he got a tune on the Haldex system itself. And this was really interesting. So the Haldex system from factory, he found out, it does this 50-50 torque split, right? It'll send 50% of the torque to the back diff, but it's not 50% of any amount of torque that's made. It has a cap of 140. It's 50% of stock torque. So when he started raising the torque by hundreds and hundreds of pound-feet, it was still going to only send 140 pound-feet to the rear. So that was really interesting. I mean, imagine if you had 450 pound-feet of torque now, and you're sending 140 to the rear, and you have 310 going to the front. Suboptimal. So you get a tune on it. Now it's sending half of the torque to the rear. Oh man, modified cars are great. When they're done well, they are so great. The thrust, the power is good. The power is good. Power doesn't really come on until 3,000 RPMs. Doesn't even really kick until 4, but when it kicks, man, this is like Bruce Lee speed. It's just from like 4 to 7, the tach just runs. Wow. Turn-in is pretty good. I say pretty good because, I don't know, the car's not that heavy, but it just feels like there's a little more weight in it than I was expecting. I mean, to be fair, the last car I drove here, well, strangely, it was a Crown Victoria with all kinds of mods and really sticky 888s in the front. This has good tires on it. The steering feedback is, I think it's okay. It's not amazing, but it's got a great weight to it. I like the rack speed a lot. And in that corner, I can't feel like the lateral grip of the tires, but I can feel the bumps and things it's going over. So to explain that, you know, if you're driving a car and it starts to lose a little bit of grip in the front, you want to feel that sensation through the steering wheel if possible. Like that's what we want. We want as much information going from the tires to our hands as possible. So some cars do that really, really well. Some cars do it just okay. This car does it okay. You know, but at least the rack speed is good and at least the steering weight is good. It feels really adjustable mid-corner, which is, you know, kudos to John for trying to sort out that neutral handling thing. That really shines. That does. I mean, obviously I'm not sliding the car, but, you know, I don't feel a ton of understeer. I don't feel oversteer. It just feels like a really even all-wheel drive car. Kind of like, I don't know, it's like an Evo hatchback. Suspension damping is great. This road is not perfect, and the suspension is soaking the things up really nicely. We're not bottoming out anywhere. It has a little bit more ground clearance than some might expect, but that's to clear those tires. If he lowered it anymore, it would actually rub a lot while cornering. But I think, you know, if you're gonna have a daily driver, you don't want it dropped on the ground, right? So right now, the car is in quiet mode. It's got a little bit of burble when I lift off the throttle. Just a little bit, but let's turn that off. We'll go to the full, wow, this is the full straight pipe treatment. Yeah, that is the full burble tune. You know, the owner said he wanted a little bit of pops and crackles, and what he got was pops and crackles through the whole rev range. Amazingly, it doesn't feel that loud in the car. That is a testament of Volkswagen sound deadening. I almost said BMW. But let's see, if we roll the window down a little bit. Yeah, okay, it sounds the way you expect. It's got a little bit, you know what? I will say that the burble tune on this has more depth in terms of the tone than a lot of the new burble tunes I've heard, especially like inline, you know, the Hyundai burble tunes and even some of the BMWs that like rip around my neighborhood and just try to show off in first gear. They have a really high-pitched crack to them that I do not like. This has a little bit little bit subtler, a little bit more refined. You know, on brand for Golf R. Downshift to 2. You know, so this dual clutch, 6-speed, optional of course. The only hatchback in this market at the time that offered any kind of automatic or dual clutch. Focus RS didn't come with one. Civic Type R didn't come with one. Shifts pretty quick. You know, compared to one today, it would be considered slow. Like I would call it, you know, livable and acceptable. But I think like BMW's ZF 8-speed or Ford's new 10-speed, both of those shift quicker than this does. Man, really good shock damping, really good suspension. I thought this was going to be too stiff. When John emailed me and I saw the car, he's like, yeah, this is my daily driven track car with canards on it. And I was like, I said, okay, that's going to be bumpy. It's not. It's not at all. As he hits a bump. Like, it soaked out once, and then we're off and on our way. This is a great example of a car that has had all the knobs turned up evenly. You know, yeah, he's added hundreds of horsepower, but I feel like it has the brakes and the grip to keep up with that. And now it's all a good time. You know, it's not just a car that is only fun on the straightaways. Like, I'm not sitting here going, man, this road's too tight, this car is boring now, like it feels like fish out of water. You know I can't really stretch the power here, and I can't really experience like the thrust in third and fourth and tell you guys about it, but it's not ruining the drive. There are cars out there that are, you know, meant for standing mile things or whatever. That's fine, but when they come to a road like this, they do feel out of their element, and they feel like you have sacrificed some of what driving has to offer for something else. But a good track car has to do everything well, and this does that. And these brakes, man, they're strong. These Macan S brakes, like there's a little travel at the top, and then you get deeper in the pedal. They grab hard. They grab hard. What I love about the Golf R is that it doesn't say a lot about you to those that don't know, but those that do give it respect, and they respect you for buying it, right? The Civic Type R, if you park that at a meeting or a club or wherever, especially the last gen one, I mean, it is very aggressive looking. It's very clear that you are a car person, and this is a car, and it's going to drive really fast, and you're going to take it to the track. Focus RS is kind of like an in-between, right? It's got wings and stuff on it, but it's not nearly as loud and flamboyant as the Civic Type R is. Golf R just shows up, and people might go, oh yeah, it's a GTI, it's a Golf, whatever. But us in the car world, we go, oh, that's the good one. It's got the R badge, it's got the good power, it's got all-wheel drive. You know, it's a slightly cheaper Audi. It's a cheaper Audi S3 that has a good backpack and a lot more storage. That's what I like about it. And then what John has proven is that you can add a lot of power to these. It's been reliable for him. He's got 80,000 miles on it. He takes it to the track frequently. He's never had an overheating issue. He's never had any kind of problems at the track with it mechanically. He's replaced a water pump, and you know, there may be some repairs in the future because it's a German car and it's very complicated and amazing, and that comes with a cost. But right now, this is a car with great turn-in, excellent suspension damping, great brakes that didn't cost him an arm and a leg, and a ton of power that I have not even begun to explore because this road is too tight. But I mean, this feels very, very fast. So have your cake and eat it too? Yeah, I'd say you can. So to the questions, should you buy one of these? Depends on what you want. But I think if you're looking for a really good overall package in terms of daily driven performance, this is a really hard thing to beat, especially for the money. And the powertrain is stout enough to handle a bunch more power, a bunch of boost. It seems to like the mods a lot. And should you put power in yours? Yeah, definitely. Do what John did. Do a staggered stance. Just try to copy the RS3. Save a little bit of money. Okay? So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening to the podcast. And we will see you later.
And remember, always fight your tickets. Use code TST10 on the Off the Record app available in the Android and iOS store, or go to offtherecord.com/TST.
Good car. Good car.